This is day 1623 of the Aruch Shulchan Yomi. Today we're doing Yardeh, Siman Shin Nun Beis, Sif Dalid, to Shin Nun Zayin, Sif Aleph. Yeah, they're just running by. Did you see money? Dalid. V'achshav minhag shemacham yamayim. The minhag is that actually to give you the minhag the Chevra Kadisha here, that we heat up water, machitzim also, and we rinse up the corpse. Medichim also we I should wash off the corpse. Medichim also we rinse it off very well. That should be clean of any dirt. Tachin rosha bebeitzim trufos, and we smear his head with mixed eggs, basically pasan, which with these mixed up eggs with their shells. Shigalgahu shchos to signify like the egg is round, that abelos death, the sun which goes around the world. Show tisha kabin mu'umad, and pour him 9 kav of water, standing up. V'ochsin as a mace, and you grab the mace. Show love a tisha kabin, and you pour upon him the 9 kabin. Choma save in yone hameis here b'tznius, and all the things you do to the mace should be with modesty. It's as if he's still alive. Shlois Bazai should not be denigrated. Because the Shama is cognizant of the respect afforded of the body, or conversely, its degradation. And you straighten out the limbs. Shlois Sakmud, it should not be crooked. Become crooked. And when the wrote an argument, crackable above the Sharkilos Kadeshus, the custom is in these places. Shagam b'Shabbos mezizim ever shlois came to even on Shabbos. You move a limb so it should not go against the rigor mortis into a crooked position. Matimei b'Shabbos, you close the eyes on Shabbos. Amrim shesakana yesh b'dovar. They say it's sakana if you don't do it. It's better to name Adonai Yontif and the Or Zarua. V'zayim chemetz abugad v'shomeis b'Shabbos, and you sprinkle vinegar on the garments of a mace on Shabbos. That shlois yasriach hamotzei Shabbos, that you should not go. Not get an odor till Motzei Shabbos. The places where they delay the burial for a day or two, which used to be very prevalent. Yesh the tara, you should do the chitza and the tara. Chitza referring to the washing body, tara the tisha kabin. Avishim yad, and put him into his shrouds immediately. Echroch sadina malbushin, and to put a sheet on the garments. And immediately just before the gvura yechziru. They should go and clean him up again. And it brings down the brackets that there's the Chasam Sofer. The Chasam, I think, wrote landmark tshuva about this. I think that he had, if I recall correctly, that Moses Mendelssohn wrote the tshuva justifying them to wait a few days for burial because they weren't sure somebody was dead yet at the time, because they didn't have the tools yet to ascertain the actual time of death. And the Chasam Sofer wrote this response that I'm not sure it works out time-wise at the same time chronologically, but it's my recollection. They wrote a tshuva saying how the Yisrael to bury expeditiously is justified, and I guess he also wrote about what to do if there was this decree from the kingdom to the government to delay burial. How you take the mace out to bury him. We learned the Bryce of Hashem. In the old days, they used to leave uncovered faces of the rich, and cover the faces of the poor. The poor people's faces were dark on account of the famine. And live poor people would be embarrassed. Everybody should be covered at the time that they're taken out to be buried. But initially you should take rich people out on some sort of elaborate couch, and on a simple stretcher. Her name was Rizbaishim, and the poor people would be embarrassed. They made everyone should take out on a simple stretcher. Make one the honor their name. Initially, they used to put incense under the corpses of the people who died of stomach ailments, which obviously would have created a bad odor. He's going to they made it put them underneath everybody. Therefore, it's appropriate to put incense in the house where there's a mace. The guy should to banish the bad smells. I mean, there's no odor with this specific corpse. Nevertheless, they should do this. Not distinguish between different mason. Base Eminicum Sefer Torah Mitos Shulchacham. I feel aloof for going b'yachi b'dor. You don't put a Sefer Torah on the stretcher of a sage, even if he was a champion and a genius and unique in the generation. This is brought down from Rav Hai Gaon. Moshe goes to Torah Shema B'Sin Shin Dalamem, like the Torah in his name. B'Yoshem the Dafka Mitos also explained that specifically on the stretcher. It's also of Nimi and Mitos, but in front of his stretcher. Shtama Mokum B'Fniatz, that the Sefer Torah is in place by itself. Muto Godador, this minute for the great one of the generation. This also is not the Ein Hador Roy Lekachman. We're saying Rabbim. And the race is not suitable for this on account of our great iniquities. We certainly don't say this one fulfilled that which it says in here. Well, the one with Chazal said, which is, I mean, it says in the Gemara, the honor of the Chacham, it's taken him out through the doorway. Not to lower his body via rooftops. His honor is to put him on the first stretcher. Also, not to change him from stretcher to stretcher. You should take him out in the bed in which he died. That's not the custom today. You only take a mace out in a stretcher if his head and most of his torso is intact. Ayin Sham. Gimel, Tinok ben Lamed Yom, a child who's within 30 days of birth, even if he has full result of full-term pregnancy. Don't take him out in a stretcher nor in a coffin, unless whether you bear him in your bosom. It's like this. I think. The base akvaras to the cemetery of Nikbar Isha Achas. He's buried with one woman and two men. Now with one man and two women, they should yichud on account of the appropriate yichud. For Shasanin, it's because even at a time of great anguish, it's over a person can overwhelm him. If they want to take him out in a stretcher, or just beyond their permission to do so. You don't stand on him in a road to get them. Don't say the birchas. If we know that he's a full-term baby. Ben Shloshim Yom Gmuros, but somebody who child died after the 30 complete days. After 30 days, Yotze Gluskama, he goes out in a Gluskama, which is Vainu Kamin Teba Katana, a kind of small box, and he tells Bagapayim, which is born Agapayim, Klomar, Benzo, meaning between the arms of a person. Bashura, and they stand on him in a row. And they say and if it's a child who is fully 12 months old, so then they go out in a stretcher. Anybody who's been brought out in a stretcher, Matzivin love, Klomar meaning, Mishtayim with Sarim, you're supposed to be astonished and in anguish. If it's not goes out in a stretcher, so the masses don't comport themselves in that way. Anyone who is known by the masses are involved. Anyone who's not known by the masses, evidently was that should take place without any fanfare. Ain't a rabbi Mitzrayim about the masses not have to be involved with him. It seems they're still talking about a child. A child who died before he got a bris milah. So kivro bracha, you give a bris milah at the kever without bracha, and you give him a name. His brother says him in the Reish Samagim, I ain't sham. It's already been discussed. Shouldn't doubt. When there are two people have died, who takes precedence for Kvura? There are two people did it then and say, you don't take them and bury them as one. You have to give honor for each one. Therefore, you take out whoever died first, the covenant or so, and you bury him, and then you take the second one. When they're both equivalent in stature. One was a sage, Talmid Chacham. The other was a lesser sage. HaChacham Kodim, the sage comes first. Talmid Chacham, Amaretz was the lesser sage. Amaretz and Amaretz, Talmid Chacham, then Talmid Chacham goes first. Isha. Man and woman, Matzima Isha Kodim, we take the woman out first, and Isha Krova Lenivel, because she's more likely to be degraded. Shet Hashpia Damatis Nabel, that blood will flow from her body and she'll become degraded. Talmid Chacham Isha, if you have a Talmid Chacham or a woman named Isha's Kena, if the woman is elderly, I guess no issue of blood. Talmid Chacham goes first. Yalda, if she's younger, Isha Gadem, this woman goes first. Loshu Chacham God, unless he's a great sage. Because then the honor of the Torah takes precedence. None. However, you have Achron Nafuach, if the later mace, who died later, is already bloated, so, and they're afraid that his stomach will burst. Somebody couldn't take him out first. So, Davar Pasha, this is obvious. The God of a Katan, Hagod Kodem. If you have an adult and a child, the adult comes first. Isha Yalda, older woman, a younger woman. Isha's Kana, and a elderly woman. Hayada Kodemes, the sorry, I read that wrong. Isha Yalda, Isha's Kana. If you have a younger woman and an older woman, Hayada Kodemes, the younger woman comes first. Because the potential of blood. Base, we cover and need to take the first one out and bury him. You don't do the shura, the line. You don't say the birchas vayim until they take out the second one and bury him. Then you don't do a shura and put them together. First you do for this one, then the second one. Rav. If there's a lot of people, you split them up into some do this one, some do that one. By the time the reason don't do two at one, because perhaps they're not equal in stature. So you're not menachim to avelim together, and unless they're of equal honor, and equal praise. The Pasha is obvious. And one makes you leaving overnight for his covet, because she's part of Sin Shin and Zayin, as will be explained when in Sin Shin and Zayin. The Motzim is a shame, you take out the second one immediately. Covenant, so you bury him. You don't follow the levels in this case. The loved one's greater than the other, not Adrab. On the contrary, if you're leaving over the greater one for his honor, why should you leave over the lesser one? It's a katan miyadi, you bury the lesser one immediately. Shin Nun Hey. Things that you change by a woman more than by a man. Aleph, which is the next two sifim only have two, or Simani only have one sif. We don't put the stretcher of a woman in the street. They cover because of the honor. The Shema Yitzim and Adam, maybe blood will come out and should become degraded. What does that mean? Klomar Shagora should be here, the great person of the city. Inkva Lavos as Isha. It's not as honored to accompany a woman in a levaya. Yeshin, some say the Lavos Ein Nafkamina and Isha makes no difference. It's a man or woman for terms of levaya. El Sheinodim Chabura B'Rachava Shel Ir. You don't stand in a group in the street of the city. I am involved in Birchas Rechava, and there's what the Torah writes about Birchas Rechava. Let's later Bitluach, Moshe's Bar Shem Chenir Ikar Bas. We don't do this Chabura and Chava Shalir, and that seems to be primary. Shin Nun Vav. Gavot Tzarech Mace was here. They collected funds for the mace, and there was left over. Aleph. Snam Bishkoim Sen Shkoim Mutar Mosar Mason, that which is left over from a mace Lamesim. Most Mason measure that which I don't know if I translate it correctly. The language left over from the Mesim, for collection for dead people, goes to Mesim, goes to dead people. Most mace, that which collected for a specific mace, Liyorsha goes to his heirs. Kates and Hausu, to Hausu. Govern the Davos, the mace, they collected donations. For a mace stam, for generically, for a mace, Zeo Mace, Mosa Mace, the mace. And it's just goes to other mason. Government may say they select for a specific mace. Most of the mace that goes to the heirs. Because of Ramban says I'm nation Medina Zacha about mace. It's not because according to halacha this mace acquired these possessions, and that therefore they go to his heirs. As Manala Milso, his designation is meaningless. And Mishnah Avali is ilusa. It's degrading. Shugavo Shmo. Because they collected for his name. The field of Yarshav, Machas Iluse. So to his heirs, he forgives his degradation that they had to collect money for his burial. V'lachem doesn't forgive this that they should go to others. Interesting. Which is explicitly Gemara. If the Gabbai wants to set up, I guess, a more elaborate matzeva from the excess funds, crushing kivro, or to put beam boards around the grave, as is the custom. I think it's in the grave, those beam boards, but I'm not sure. And the heirs protest. You should ignore them. You should do with the excess funds for the purpose of the mace, as they are accustomed to by all mason. Anything which is then left over, you can give to the heirs. A woman cannot collect her ksuva from this excess, nor a creditor his loan. She's bar. For the reason which we explained, the Rakli Yosha Meichel Zuse is only Meichel his degradation to his heirs. Shinun Zaid, Israel Lonas HaMace, the prohibition of leaving a mace unburied. Av Isa B'Snehej, it says in Hejin, Daf Mem Vav, Amrei B'Yom Shem Shem Mechai Kol Milinas Mace, anybody leaves his mace over blows, I say, violates the negative commandment. Shemar says, Ki Kavor Tikveda B'Yom you have to bury him. This is about a person who's executed in Basin, but you bury him B'Yom Hahu. On that day, Salini Veloso, don't leave his carcass over. Klomar Levada, say the cover command BMO. Besides the positive command, bury him on that day over Gam Veloso, say, which will violate negative command. So say Veloso, say. So violating both the negative command and a positive command. But Yeshish those say the rock below to say over, that you only over Losa say, but say a rock al Ruge Basin. That say of Kovotik Reno only goes on people killed by Basin. Executed in court. It sounds away from the Ramish Kosa. They say the Bora is called Ruge Basin Biyom Arigo. Since I say to bury all the people who are killed by Basin on the day that they are killed. Shema says Ki Kavor. Ruge Basin not just a Ruge Basin. El Kol Milinas Mace. Anybody who leaves his mace over below say violates the law. Say. So sounds like it's two separate things for the. Say going on Aruge Basin and the lav on any mace. Braga says I lech Mishnah, and there's a clear the name of the Gamma Lavo Rock Aruge Basin. Why not say also the Lavas on Aruge Basin? Sifri Tiny Los Olin Zumis is Losa say. It sounds like all mason, but Sarach Ian requires more analysis. That is it for today.